Now, one of you recently reached out to me and said, can you make a video on your life in IIM Bangalore? So in this video, and I think you should listen to the end, I'm going to talk about what life at IIM Bangalore or what life at any IIM is, but with a little bit of spice. Before we get started, do subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon. Now, as you might see on LinkedIn right now, a lot of people are posting that they have got admits into these big IIMs, and a lot of MBA grads think that they can relax this 1 month before business school starts in the month of June, but that's actually not true. The reason is your neighborhood auntie will actually come to your house and will tell you exactly what the current salary trends are, which industry is in, which industry is not in, and how much Sharma ji ka beta is actually earning. Now, once 450, 500 of you think of the most intelligent, driven people come to business school, everyone's trying to establish their role in that animal hierarchy. So in term one, people fight for every mark. Everyone gets up at 5 a.m. Everyone puts in a night out, and every mark is photo work. This is how the scene in a typical classroom looks. In a classroom, you will have something called as class participation. So a professor is trying to discuss a case study, and you are expected to contribute by speaking on intelligent points on that case study. So say someone puts up a hand and she makes a point on a typical case study. Now you will have other 59 students getting very insecure that she's put up a hand and she will go ahead and we are not able to say anything. So sometimes in term one, you have classes where the professor speaks for 1 minute and 59 students speak for 59 minutes. In term one, you will also see in classes there is something called class participation. There is good class participation, there is bad class participation, there is desperate class participation, there is shameless class participation, and there is ridiculous class participation. Now in term one, in such a high pressure environment, when a nerdy boy and nerdy girl work in such a high pressure environment, sparks typically fly. But then nerdy boy and nerdy girl realize that they have relationships outside and they should be loyal to their partners, so they become good friends, the brother-sister variety. Now, when you come to term two is largely about summer placements. How do you land that dream internship? And during this phase, you will be working with a lot of seniors to craft that one-page resume of yours where you can show all your achievements and all your credentials. Now, during this time, a lot of people find out the huge amount of inner talent they have. So you will have a lot of term two students go back to their place of work and identify how much they have saved their previous employer. So you will have points like, I was a trainee for 6 months with company A. I saved $100 million for that company. Someone would have worked for 18 months at an IT company and they would have saved $3 billion for that company. Now, when you actually add up all the millions and add up all the billions people have saved, you will realize that batch has actually crossed the Indian economy. Now, during this phase, there are people who also find out innate hobbies about themselves. So you will see some people become marathon runners, some people become photographers. You will have that guy carrying that latest DSLR chasing a cockroach around campus, trying to get the best picture of that cockroach around campus. You will see a lot of people getting into animal rights. You will have a Bengali who's eaten non-vegetarian fish or chicken 3 meals a day, but will now have a parrot on his shoulder and will take a picture and say, I am pro animal rights. Now, term two is when nerdy boy and nerdy girl also realize that their previous relationships are not working and they move from the brother-sister good friendship into a romantic relationship. Now in term three, and in my view, term three is the best term on campus because there is so much action and the pressure for placements is not really there. Now, term three is characterized by elections into the student council, elections into the academic council, elections to become the heads of the various clubs, whether it's the business club, entrepreneurship club, and various other clubs. Now, when these elections happen, and if you see elections in India, you've often heard that people vote along community lines. So the Marathis vote for the Marathis, the Bengalis vote for the Bengalis, the Punjabis vote for the Punjabis. And you will see similar behavior also happening in business school elections. There is only one situation where this scenario doesn't happen, and that is when a pretty girl stands for elections. When a pretty girl stands for election, there is a complete landslide that happens. She wins by a margin that's never been seen in the history of elections. Now, in term 3, you also select electives for the next year, for the second year. And it's interesting to notice how people change during term 3. In term 1, everybody fights for every mark, for every inch. But in term 3, people get a little realistic. So nobody takes an elective that has classes before 11 a.m. in the morning. Nobody takes an elective where there is a surprise quiz or there is class participation because you have to study for that. Nobody takes electives where the professor is very nasty and you have to prepare for that. Now in term 3, people also get ready mentally to go for the summer internship. The summer internship is an 8-week or 2-month exercise. So every person is thinking that what advice will I give Mukesh Ambani or Ratan Tata when they come to me and say, how do I run my business? So everybody's preparing that speech in their mind as they go into the summer internship. Now the summer internship, once people finish that over a period of 2 months, they come into the second year and they come into term 4. And during this term, you will see that so many people in term 4 have this great sense of gratitude that the world has given them so much that they managed to work for 8 weeks during the summer internship, and they have learned so much in that 8 weeks of summer internship that they want to give back to society, they want to give back to the world. So when the first years come in and now you are in the second year, you will have so many seniors who will reach out to first years and say, I want to coach you, I want to mentor you, I want to share my wisdom with you, I want to share all my learnings from my incredible work experience of 8 months with you. When I was in my first year, I was allocated a senior in my second year who was in term 4, I was in term 1, and he reached out to me so many times saying, I want to share my wisdom with you, I want to share my great experience over 8 weeks with you. So over a peak, I was actually busy over 1 week, and one night he came to my room, knocked at the doors, got into my room and counseled me for 3 hours and told me about his incredible life learnings over his 8-week summer internship. After this interesting mentorship exercise, the first test for the relationship between the nerdy boy and the nerdy girl typically happen. It depends on how their internships go. If both get a PPO, everything is well and good. If one of them doesn't get a PPO, things start getting a little tricky. If both don't get a PPO, it becomes very, very tricky. Now in term 5, what happens is, this is the exchange term where typically 1/3 of your batchmates will go to the US, will go to Europe, and similarly a lot of students from US and Europe will come to your institute. A lot of emphasis on term 5 is on making the resume because the final placements are around the corner. So a lot of people are worried about case studies, about resume points as they call it. You will also see a lot of pretty European and American women start coming on campus, and typically 4 Indian guys will chase every European or pretty American girl. And this is how the typical psyche goes, that if she smiles at me, I am very sure she's going to be the mother of my children. So the 4 guys keep chasing that European girl all 3 months. Initially she's polite, after some time she gets irritated. At the end of 3 months, when it's time for her to go back, she comes to the conclusion that it is better to be into women for her rather than date any of the Indian guys. But the one thing you have to admire is a lot of Indian guys have great resilience. So even this experience they convert into a resume point. So you'll typically have people writing that was one of the 4 people in a batch of 450 that was dating a pretty European girl, took her out for 10 lunches and 4 cafes. People are very, very happy with this. Now we come to term 6, and term 6 essentially becomes a very somber term because the final placements are around the corner. This is essentially what you've worked for all 2 years, and the whole tamasha about the resume, about your hidden talents comes to the fore. Now once you finish the final term, everybody goes for a vacation, whether it's Goa, whether it's Ladakh, Hong Kong, Maldives, Bhutan, and often you have the best time of your life during that 1-week break. Now what happens is there is so much noise around us that sometimes you're not sure how your business school has gone. Has it gone well? Has it not gone well? And the litmus test for that is when you come back home, the auntie who visited your house 2 years ago, if she calls you for lunch to her place and gives you a 7-course meal, you should be dead sure that you have done extremely well in your 2 years at business school. So this is a short overturn of what my experience at IIM B was. It was a little bit of spice. Hope you enjoyed it. Before we finish, do subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon. Till next time, take care.